Hey y'all, my name is Liz Wright, and I am a professor of psychology at Northwest Vista College in San Antonio, Texas. I do these videos for my students, but also to share information about different research that relates to psychology, and also to try to demonstrate how all of the things that we're learning in college relate to each other. And today's topic is really interesting to me because it does cross multiple research areas or areas that we might study while we were in school. So one thing I do want to let you know is I will be talking about suicide and suicide prevention today. So if those are topics that make you feel uncomfortable, then this is probably not a video you want to watch. Or it might be a video you want to watch so that you can learn more about it. So we do know that suicide is one of the major causes of death in the United States. And there's been so many different programs that people have implemented in order to try to decrease suicide over the years and across the United States and across the world. And people are really trying to figure out, how can we get to folks who are contemplating suicide and help them so that they don't attempt and or complete suicide. So a lot of the research actually is now showing that policies that relate to suicide risk and decreased suicide risk don't necessarily actually even relate to or mention suicide prevention in those policies. So we do know that some of the influences on suicide risk include things like mental health, include things like access to firearms and other things that people use to attempt suicide. But there's also other things such as financial challenges that influence suicide risk, experiences with discrimination, with racism, those also influence suicide risk. So as we're making policies relating to economics, or as we're making policies relating to racism, we're not specifically probably thinking about decreasing suicidality, but we do see that changes in those types of policies do impact the suicide rate. So, for example, and I'm going to share the article that I'm reading about, and I'm going to look at it specifically so that I make sure I get all of this stuff right. So, one of the newest studies looks at issues such as economic security. So, really focusing on the wage gaps and trying to help folks who are experiencing lower wages to increase their wages. So either through education or through increasing the minimum wage. Both of those can decrease, or let me put it this way, are related to a decreased risk of suicidality. I don't want to put causation in there because obviously these aren't experiments, they're correlational studies, right? So decreasing alcohol consumption can also decrease, or is related to, let's put it that way, a decreased risk in suicidality as well. So we also see that decreasing discrimination in the workplace can decrease suicide risk. And then access to firearms does decrease suicide risk as well. So decreasing suicide risk is not just a mental health issue. It is a multi-pronged problem, and we need to look at it in terms of what are the social factors that might influence someone's decision to attempt suicide, as well as maybe the mental health issues that might influence suicide. So I really want you to think about what are some programs or strategies that we can use that look at the things that we've talked about, and try to figure out how can we create programs or implement programs that would make changes to those things that would also make changes to suicide risk.